What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're moving into the mini comic wave. I've got Daken, so let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Daken. So let's see what we've got going on. Alright, so we are moving along with Dark Avengers. We've got this pretty good looking upgrade to Daken here. Of course, there'll be a comparison later on, but you see here you've got the mini comic, you've got some extra hands, you've got an extra head. So I do like that we have the extra head option. I'm not sold on this mini comic idea. I just don't really have a purpose for it, but you know, they may do anything they can to not give us Build-A-Figures anymore. That may be that. That aside, I am very much excited to get this updated version of Daken for the display, though. So there is that. Flip it to the back. You can get a good look at the rest of the wave. All of those have arrived, so those videos will be trickling out. You get the comic that they're going with for your mini there, Dark Avengers, right? So you've got that image on the back. You've got the important information at the bottom, and there's your blurb. In Dark Avengers #1, the mutant assassin Daken is recruited to impersonate his father, Wolverine, in Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers. Flip it back. Alright, so let's take a look at this compared to some other retro cards. So it does come in at the same height as some of your more traditional retro cards. You can see Wolverine here. The heights line up almost perfectly. The bubble on the newer card is going to be bigger. They really accentuate that comic accessory and give you all kinds of empty space in the back there. And then just to take a look at a different style of retro card that is a more modern design, this gives you that same idea. Around the same height, the Dark Avengers, or these mini comic wave ones, seem to have just a slight height advantage over top, but basically the same idea here. Let's get them out of the box. Fresh out of the box, and probably the reason I went with this one first is I was really looking forward to getting an updated version of Daken for the Dark Avengers display. The older one still had the ball hips. It certainly became outdated. Still looked pretty cool in some aspects. Like, I certainly prefer the claws for that older one. Again, I will have a comparison later on of the two of those, but I like this one. It's got a good updated body to it. The heads look pretty good, especially this mohawk head. Absolutely the choice I will be going with in the display. Hands, you do get the good options there. It just comes down to this mini comic for me that it just feels like a kind of waste of space for me in this figure, right? The books, they don't open, they don't do anything. It's essentially the cover, and then the back just says Marvel Legends on it. So it's fine. If you like it, I'm happy for you. It's just not for me. But we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about the figure. So let's get a closer look. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at this first head sculpt and the overall body here. Now, this head sculpt looks pretty good. It's not my favorite of the two. The mohawk one really stands out, so I'm looking forward to taking a look at that on the figure here. Tattoo is there. Looks, not too bad. You do have some of that skin painted on in the shoulder area. That I do find a little annoying because it will chip over time, but nothing so far. Everything actually looks pretty clean in there, so I do like where we're going with this. You've got that additional third claw represented on this version, right? So that I do feel like is a sort of upgrade from the previous version, even though I like the aesthetic and texture of those older claws. Swapping out the heads, we can take a look at this alternate one, and yeah, that's so good. Mohawk looks really nice. The expression on I am digging that expression. Very cool. You've got that dark coloring in the eyes just to give him that, that I guess hindrance of darkness, right, if you will. So yeah, I think they really nailed this head sculpt. I like the expression. It's not too over the top, but it is very expressive, if you know what I mean. So I do enjoy that. For your hands, you do get a set of fists with the tri-claw going on there. And then your alternate hands include a grabbing hand and a bi-claw fist. So I probably would have liked maybe some open clawed hands, or two two bi-claw hands. I don't. This just feels like an odd combination of hands. Now I'm gonna rock the tri-claw fists, but I really don't understand only doing the one there and then tossing in the grabbing hand. I feel like maybe those sort of open hands with claws out that you see sometimes for Wolverine figures would have been good, but that's what we're working with here. Now, for the claws themselves, they are that sort of flimsier plastic that we saw in some of those older Wolverines from a few years back, but they are molded in, so they aren't going to fall out. So I do like that about them. As far as the articulation goes, the head will look down to there, chin touching the chest, and then up and back to there. So you get all that upward movement. You got plenty of rock in there and rotation all around. So I like the amount of range that we get with the head there. Shoulders, you do get that butterfly joint. Arms work all the way around. Of course, you have that upper bicep cut, and you are double jointed pinless at the elbow. Nothing at your forearm, and then hinge at your wrist. Ab crunch, hip swivel. Leg kicks out to there. Back to there, and then up and out to there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee. Nothing at your boot there, and then hinge and swivel at the ankle. Boots are a good design. I like the sort of high arch up there, and then you do get the tread at the bottom, so perfect for standing, right? These are good boots. For comparison, here he is backed up against our older Daken, so you can see he was certainly worth the upgrade, worth the wait on that. He is a much better figure all around. Still, I like the claws on this old one, so I'm going to see something there, see if we can get those finagled on, but all in all, I am happy that we are finally getting this upgrade here. So I think with some work, you could get those hands out. These older ones, they don't pop in and out like they do for the last several years. But if you're good with that kind of stuff, you can absolutely make that work. The browns are pretty close. They're a little bit darker on the older Daken, but I think close enough that you could do that if you wanted to. And just to see the height comparison between Wolverine and Daken, you can see here, as you might expect, Daken is taller, he's slender. So I like the aesthetic here. Certainly looking forward to eventually getting this bodied Wolverine in a darker palette like this. But yeah, I like the height difference here. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your Marvel Legends mini comic wave Daken. I like the figure overall. It's the mini comic thing that's the main detractor in this wave for me. Would have very much loved for this to be a Build-A-Figure wave. We only get a couple a year now, right? We got 3 last year. I guess we're probably on pace for that or less at this point. So it would have made me happy to see this as a Build-A-Figure wave. But all in all, I like the options that were put in the wave. So I guess if I'm trying to rationalize here, they at least made good options to make it more desirable, even though it's missing one of the major things I would have liked to be in the box there. But that aside, like I said, it's a good figure. I like the figure. I have a home for it, so that to me is a big reason to go ahead and make the upgrade, right? It is a worthy upgrade from the previous version of Daken. So at the end of the day, I'm happy with the purchase. just not completely happy with the overall execution and idea behind it. But I do want to hear from you if you are a big fan of this idea of the mini comics. I do think there are some things you'd be able to do with them, photography wise, display wise. It's just not something I have a home for in my collection. So they're just going to end up in the bin, right? That's where I would have liked to build a figure, because then I at least have another character to build out. But if you are on board for this and you are really into the idea, let me know, because I certainly want to hear from that too. But other than that, folks, that's my 2 cents. I do appreciate you checking out the video. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.